My name is Jeremy Crawford, and I believe I have lived a rather long life, and now I will tell you a brief story about it. I was once a captain in the 3rd Cavalry Regiment of the Union Army. The war between the North and the South was both my destiny and my curse. The 30 men under my command obeyed me as if I were the only voice in the world, a voice capable of protecting them and showing them the way. I was not just an officer to my men, I was a symbol of strength and confidence. I remember the shine of my boots, polished to a mirror finish, and my proud bearing, which even the generals envied. But war is a cruel old woman who takes more than she gives. I still remember that July dawn at Red River when the world split in two. It was a brutal battle. We marched at dawn trying to take a strategic hill by surprise, but unexpectedly we fell into a trap. The sun had not yet risen when bullets began tearing through the air. Everything was against us. Gunfire from above, cannon fire, and the heavy southern humidity that made it difficult to breathe. Bullets whistled around us, and the earth rose up in chunks as if torn by a giant plow. It was a terrible scene, with the cries of the wounded, the moans of the dying, and the clang of sabers everywhere. I led my soldiers forward toward the summit, and we had almost reached it when fate caught up with me. That day was the last day of my life in the saddle. One of the bullets lodged in my knee, the second passed through my calf, leaving me with a permanent reminder. The pain was so sharp that I lost consciousness for a moment, collapsing to the ground like a felled tree trunk. I woke up in a field hospital, surrounded by moans and the smell of rotting flesh. They couldn't save my leg. Along with it, my life was gone. When I returned home after long months of recovery, I realized that no one was waiting for heroes here, that the world I had fought for had changed beyond recognition. People had turned into vultures, greedily tearing pieces of flesh from each other's mouths. I couldn't keep the house that was sold off to pay my debts, couldn't keep the woman I loved. A crutch became my only companion. I became homeless, legless, faceless, a beggar and a drunkard. I screamed into the void, feeling helpless and useless, a cripple doomed to loneliness. People passed by, and every time I caught their glances, full of pity, sometimes disgust, but most often just empty, as if they were looking right through me. Sometimes it seemed to me that death would be easier than this eternal pain and loneliness. I forgot what it was like to respect myself. At first I tried to resist this decline, but soon I broke down completely. A bottle of whiskey became my only comfort, and a dirty corner near the saloon wall became my only home. I had sunk to the very bottom of life. The days dragged on like dirty ropes, and the nights were cold and merciless. My skin was covered with layers of dirt and despair. People passed by, glancing at me, some with pity, some with disgust, but most looked right through me, as if I were an empty space. 3 long years passed like this, years in which I no longer considered myself alive, only breathing out of habit, waiting for the end. Then one late evening, as fog rolled down the deserted street, a boy, barely older than 10, approached me. I had never seen him before. His eyes were full of despair, his face dirty and hungry, like a mirror image of my own. He said quietly, "Sir, I've lost my mother. Please help me." Something long forgotten stirred in my chest, causing me to rise on my crutch without thinking of the pain. He timidly explained that he had lost his mother on the road between towns and was now completely alone, hungry, frightened, and didn't know what to do. At that moment, something from the past awoke in me. That same voice, that same look, that same captain who had been sleeping inside me all these years suddenly raised his head and remembered who he was. I dusted off my coat and leaned on my crutch as if it were a saber. I felt my blood flowing through my veins again. We walked together all night, the old soldier and the lost child. We made it to the next town. I knocked on doors, looked in windows, searched every shadow and every corner, not thinking about how tired I was or how much it hurt. And when we found his mother at dawn, crying now with happiness and relief, for the first time in many years, I felt like a human being, useful and needed. She looked at me with eyes full of tears and gratitude. Soon the whole town knew about what I had done. An old acquaintance, the owner of a local ranch, who had previously shunned me, offered me a job. Before that, I was just a drunk looking for an end to my suffering, a cripple who inspired only pity or contempt. Now he saw in me the former captain, a man capable of inspiring and guiding others. I accepted his offer. At the ranch, I gradually began to recover, and even though my crutch did not become a boot again and my wound did not heal completely, people began to treat me with respect, and along with them, I regained respect for myself. My advice and my experience were all appreciated. After several years of hard work and a sober outlook on life, I became the owner's partner, and then 3 years later, I bought my own ranch. I married a woman who loved me not for the shine of my boots, but for my strength of spirit and courage to face difficulties head on. For her, I became a complete man. She became my support and inspiration to live each day happily and love what I have, striving to make as much beauty as possible my own. Over time, we had a child, and now I had an heir, my son. Meanwhile, we had grown from one ranch to a dozen more. Today, when I look back, I don't just see a path of ups and downs, a path of pain and suffering. No, I see a path of rebirth and true victory over what I thought was my destiny. Life shattered me, but it couldn't defeat me. I rose from where it seemed impossible. It is precisely when it seems that there is no strength left that true power awakens within us. The main thing is to see your chance and grab it, because after sunset, dawn always follows. And I am telling you this, Jeremy Crawford. Dear friends, welcome to a new journey, a new chapter, and a new home for those who carry the spirit of the Wild West in their hearts. This project, this channel, was born out of a deep love for the legends, the forgotten heroes, and the timeless stories that once shaped the American nation. If you feel that same fire within you, then saddle up and ride with us. Support the spirit of this channel with your like and subscription, and in return, you will be rewarded with breathtaking cinematic scenes, powerful voices, unforgettable stories, and most importantly, endless adventures across the frontier. Welcome to Wild West Untold.